You don't lose meaning, you gain it. But it is a meaning born of freedom, not fear. It is the quiet significance that arises when you realize that being alive is already enough. The idea of acting as if nothing matters sounds, to many ears, like a dangerous form of apathy. But that is because we have mistaken letting go for giving up. There is an enormous difference between indifference and freedom, though the two can look alike from a distance. To give up is a kind of despair. It says, nothing matters, therefore I will withdraw. But to let go is entirely different. It says, nothing matters in the way I thought it did, and therefore I am free to love it all. This distinction is at the heart of every great spiritual tradition. When the Buddha spoke of detachment, he didn't mean coldness, he meant freedom from clinging. He meant the ability to hold life lightly, to dance with it, rather than strangling it in your arms. You see, the reason we suffer is not that life is cruel, but that we demand it to be permanent. We want our loves, our identities, our successes to last forever. We want to carve eternity into the flow of time. And so we cling. We hold on to ideas, to roles, to narratives. We build shrines around what should have been allowed to pass. But life will not cooperate. It changes, it decays, it renews. And we call that impermanence loss, as though something has been stolen from us. But in truth, nothing has been stolen. It was never yours to keep. The river does not belong to the hands that cup its water. When you begin to understand this, a strange peace enters. You no longer need to force meaning onto things. You allow them to mean what they will, for as long as they will. And in that gentle surrender, you begin to taste a freedom deeper than control, the freedom of flow. Letting go, then, is not a posture of defeat, but of trust. It is saying yes to the nature of reality. It is the recognition that the universe, in its infinite intelligence, does not need your supervision. You do not have to manage it, fix it, or hold it together. The waves know how to crash, the grass knows how to grow, the heart knows how to beat, all without your approval. Now, this frightens the serious mind, because seriousness depends on control. It says, if I don't hold everything together, it will all fall apart. But what you eventually discover is that it has never been held together by you at all. You are the wave, not the oceanographer. You are the breath, not the breather. When you see that, a tremendous relief floods through your being. The self you were trying so hard to defend dissolves like mist in the morning sun. The worry that you might fail, or fall short, or not matter enough, all of it begins to melt, because you realize that life never demanded perfection from you in the first place. This is what I mean by acting as if nothing matters. It is to act without clinging, without fear, without the compulsive need for validation. You still care deeply, you still love, you still create, you still help, but you no longer make your happiness dependent on the results. You play the game knowing it is a game, and that makes all the difference. Because when you truly see that there's nothing ultimately at stake, every moment becomes lighter, more vivid. You laugh more easily. You forgive more quickly. You speak more honestly. To act as if nothing matters is to recognize that life is not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be lived. You can love fully because you no longer need love to last forever. You can work passionately because you no longer need your work to define you. You can even face death without dread because you see it as part of the rhythm, not an interruption. You begin to live like a musician, improvising. Each note complete in itself. No need to grasp the next. The melody is beautiful precisely because it moves. And curious, the more lightly you hold life, the more life seems to flow toward you. Opportunities arise when you're not clutching at them. People open up when they sense your ease. Existence itself begins to feel cooperative, playful, almost intimate. This is the paradox, the great cosmic joke. The moment you stop trying to make life meaningful, life becomes profoundly meaningful. The moment you stop trying to matter, you begin to shine. So, let go. not out of despair, but out of love, out of faith in the rhythm of being. For when you surrender your seriousness, you do not fall into emptiness, you fall into grace. And that, you see, is the real wisdom of acting as if nothing matters. It's the courage to live lightly in a world obsessed with weight. But then comes the question that naturally follows. If nothing matters in the ultimate sense, what then is the point of living at all? What compels us to play the game once we've seen through it? For that, we must turn to the final movement, the dance of life. When you finally see that nothing truly matters, not in the way you once believed, something remarkable happens. Instead of collapsing into despair, you find yourself breathing more freely. The weight you carried for years quietly lifts, as if the world itself. Life becomes lighter, not because it's trivial, but because it was never meant to be a burden. The sun rises and sets without purpose, and yet it is perfect. The waves crash with no goal, and yet they are beautiful. So why should you be any different? To act as if nothing matters is to move with life, not against it. It is to dance, not because there is a prize for dancing well, but because dancing is the point. When you no longer need to win, you begin to play with genuine joy. When you stop chasing meaning begins to find you in the smallest things, the smell of rain, the sound of laughter, the texture of the present moment. You realize that caring without clinging is the purest form of love. That action without anxiety is the truest form of intelligence. And that freedom, real freedom, is simply the absence of seriousness. The paradox resolves itself in a single breath. Nothing matters. That's what makes everything better. For when you no longer demand that life justify itself, you can finally appreciate it. You can let people be as they are. Let the world unfold as it will. Let your own story twist and turn without resistance. The universe, after all, is not a courtroom, it's a playground. And you are not a defendant, you are a dancer. So laugh, stumble, make mistakes, fall in love, lose everything, begin again. Each step, each note, each breath is already enough. You know, it's a curious thing that human beings seem to take everything so terribly seriously. We rise in the morning as though the universe itself were waiting for our report, as if some celestial office requires us to fill out forms of purpose and progress. We have this overwhelming sense that what we do matters, that each gesture, each decision must ripple through eternity in exactly the right way. Yet if you step back for a moment, if you zoom out beyond the daily scramble of appointments and ambitions, you begin to see a rather comic picture. The galaxies swirl for billions of years, stars are born and die, whole civilizations come and go like flickering candles, and here we are. It's as though the universe were engaged in the grandest of dramas, and we're playing our parts with such grim conviction that we've forgotten it's a play. This is what I call the great pretending. A cosmic game in which each of us, for reasons quite mysterious, chooses to act as if things truly matter. We fight, we strive, we suffer, and we love. And underneath it all lies an unspoken assumption that there's something to win, something to lose, some scoreboard in the sky, keeping tally of our importance. But look a little closer. What exactly does it mean for something to matter? To whom must it matter? Does the sun care whether you succeeded in business today? Do the tides pause in sympathy when your heart is broken? No. The cosmos rolls on, magnificent and indifferent. Perhaps it's not cruelty, it may be mercy. For if the universe insisted on taking our concerns as seriously as we do, it would go mad within a moment. We live within layers of seriousness. Society teaches us from childhood that the responsible person is one who worries properly. You must plan your future, choose your career, find your meaning, defend your opinion. To act otherwise, to live lightly, is branded as careless, even immoral. You must take life seriously, they say. But I ask you, why? Who decreed that seriousness is a virtue. The child does not begin